Mate, we are on the lanai, or the patio, or the balcony, or the deck, whatever you call it, wherever you are in the world. We're coming to you live from the pipeline.
Woo.
Right behind me here is cracking surf in the, what do we call it, PK, 6 to 10?
6 to 15. So the best of the best have been out all morning. John, of course, Nathan. Yeah, and it's just happening right there. So we'll throw in a bunch of footage from today as we're talking.
Epic. And
because
you guys,
who wants to look at us when that's happening, right?
Crikeys. That's exactly right. You'll be seeing it over our shoulder. You won't be able to pay attention to what we're saying. In today's show, brought to you by a New Earth project. Big thanks to them for their support. And then some really sad news out of Australia today. Tommy Peterson, the brother of the great Michael Peterson. TP was a legend in Australian surfing, one of the wildest characters I've ever met in my life, one of the realest, truest, incredible, a great surfer, an incredible partier, an incredible constitution that he had, was a part of surfing for a long time, passed away last night. So our love goes out to the Peterson family, everyone in the Snapper Rocks and Gold Coast community. That turnout for his wake or his celebration is going to be massive. I'm going to guess that it may be one of the biggest we've ever seen in Australia, because TP, although his brother was Michael Peterson, the great Michael Peterson, and so well known, Tommy was an amazing surfer and a great part of the culture and one of the most hilarious storytellers. I actually had the privilege of staying with him. You know how in 1995 I became the oldest guy to ever win an event when I won the CT in Rio.
How old were you?
I was 33.
Old man.
And back then it was considered old. Now it's nothing. We're going to look at the performances of Kelly Slater as well and talk about that. But TP was staying with Matt Hoy, Simon Law and myself in Rio de Janeiro. It's the finals day the next day, and we've kind of had a little bit of a party that night, and I've gone to bed quite late and tried to sleep. TP's woke me up in the morning and gone, BL, get up. He woke me up with a cup of tea and a slice of Vegemite toast on white bread and said, it's 6 feet, there's perfect lefts, get up, you're going to go smash Kelly Slater. And I get up and I have my cup of tea and my Vegemite toast, and I go down, it's like 4 to 5, and a right-hand is all I can see, a rights, didn't see a left, but he was there with us on that day when we created a little bit of history for myself, beat Kelly in that quarter, and then won my semi and the final, and that was the last event I ever won.
And would you say you weren't training the night before?
I was definitely not training. I was doing another kind of training that we were really match fit at that point of the career. It was a moment that brought me to tears, because I'd already started to recognise that I may never win again, and I might have to learn to live with the idea of never ever winning a contest again. And I was starting to accept that in my head, and I was just going to work to win contests to make money to try and buy a house before it was all over. And as it turned out, that win just caught me by surprise and showed me what I could do if I don't try too hard and step out of the way and let the inner intelligence of the being do the work and not override it with my stupidity and all my thoughts and all my trying. And it was one of the great lessons, one of the great moments, and the great Tommy Peterson was there to share it with us, so sending our love his way and to everyone who knew him. And then we went to Dad's swim. I've got the t-shirt on. My father's...
Wow, the big swim. How many years going now?
He started 74, 51 years, 1,400 swimmers this year, and the longest running open ocean swim race in the country. And my dad died the year after he started. It was his idea to swim it with his mates the first time, turned it into a swim, died the following year, became his memorial, and now 50 years later it's still running. And something I'm very proud of. Great that I got to share it with Lion and experience that. And then we went over to New Zealand. So while the Pipe Masters was on, I was over there in New Zealand, landlocked on the farm with Holly's parents.
Snowboarding or just being a farmer?
Just being a farmer, mate, just sitting out there on the farm and helping her parents. Her mum's not doing too good either, so it was a complex trip, mate. 3 weeks of dealing with that end of life stuff, which is, it's radical stuff, mate. That you really, Dad passed away so young, it was so quick, it wasn't anything you had to deal with. Watching the end of life stuff is really quite radical and quite sad, and at the same time I got to share those last moments that you get with your family. Holly's mum's not well. We'll see, how that goes, and we're sending our love down to them too. But that's where I was, mate. Tell me about this Pipeline Masters. We'll look at the women's first. Erin Brooks, we were all expecting big things, but it would seem from the outside that the forecast, there was a bit of a hoodoo on that forecast. They got saved right at the very end, right, in the last 2 days.
Conditions matter.
Yeah.
For the athletes. Like the year Moana won as a big surprise to everyone. Like, who is this Moana girl?
Yeah.
And now there's so many Moana bees out there trying to surf pipeline, right?
That's a good one.
Coolio Young came up with that name, Moana bee. That's pretty good, though.
That's really good.
Brought to you by Clean. Not really, but
no, it's
we
not.
love it. We do love it. We love everything. Yeah, so the conditions matter, and it wasn't the great conditions. It was backside off the lips for Erin.
Yeah, and that took its toll, but I suppose for Erin, the lesson is going to be to not think about what you want, not expect something, not look forward to be ready to surf in whatever it is. And I know Moana spoke to her dad Dawson yesterday out at Sunset, and he said that she had been inspired by the fact that she was able to challenge those best competitive girls in right-handers with manoeuvres being there, and it inspired her to maybe take on some more competition in the future. So that'd be interesting to see. Erin had a 7.33 when she lost to Molly, 10.83. So Molly was right there too.
Yeah,
good performance.
Erin just needed a little score.
Yeah,
but couldn't find it. That second wave wasn't available a lot of times.
Yeah, and that's what we saw in the scores. Got to the final. Tyler Wright, Katie Simmers, world number one. She only got a 3.94 in the final. So exactly what you were saying kind of plagued that whole women's side of the event. You got two scores. Tyler won it with a 7.72 wave total, so not a lot of waves there. Anytime you win a pipeline though, it's a good thing, so congratulations Tyler Wright on her win. Then we go to the men's.
There was drama on the men's.
Ooh, it seemed like all kinds of drama, and those last two waves were as good as right now. What do you keep looking at? Let me have a look over my shoulder.
You don't turn around.
Can't concentrate. It's just going crazy.
Turn around now. You got to be kidding me. It is as good as it gets out here right now. Where's Slater? I called him. He said, I'm in Haleiwa eating. I'll be there in an hour. We're taking a break. It's hard. You could just watch this all day, right?
You seriously could watch it all day.
There is no better location to watch this than right here.
Talk about the swell bender after the event. That's what you called it, incoming swell bender, and it's just been non-stop since the event started, right? The last 2 days of the event turned on, they got proper waves. That again, like the Pipeline Masters, they got saved right at the end by a swell, and this event got saved right at the end by the waves they got the last 2 days.
Yeah, it just seems like the waves pick up towards February. It gets really clean around Pipe. Like all the sand has shifted through the winter storms.
Yeah.
That matters. The swells start coming and pushing, and this is a really good time of year. No denying it. It's been on fire since, people talk about, karma or whatever, but I don't believe in that. I think this is the time of year.
Oh, it sure felt like there was...
Every time we turn around, there's 6 more people paddling out. Like it's on fire right now.
I saw the Jack Robbo Al Cleland heat, and that was one that
Jack with the 10.
Al got that double backdoor one, and that really kind of raised the bar, didn't it? Set the standard for the final day.
How often do you see people lose with the 10? It happens.
It happens a lot because you think, all I've got to do now is, instead of just maintaining that same commitment, that same focus, and it does happen. It's the oddest thing, but it's one of those jinxes, isn't it? It's one of those energetic things. What about our mate Kelly Slater? He stole the show somewhat, it looked like, from afar.
Day one he was on fire, and he looked really good, and he had some really good waves, just incredible positioning, timing, looked really happy and fun up.
Yeah.
Like he was having fun.
The waves were good, they were good enough to get him excited.
It got tricky the next day, the heat he lost.
Yeah, Ian Gouveia.
He didn't go, he had priority,
yeah.
And a perfect little wave came, and he went on the first wave, which you could kind of tell was a closeout from the beach. And Ian got the next one, which was a number, and if that would have been switched, Kelly makes it through that heat. Who knows where he goes, but you can always conjecture all the way through all this stuff. But Kelly looked good.
Hey, I'm going to say, no one, we look at the performances of Michael Ho at 66.
Right.
And Kelly's at 53. He is really on target to be surfing it when he's 70.
Will he surf in this event at 70 years old?
get a wild card, come in. No, I don't know about 70, but he still looks as good as he's ever looked when the waves come to play.
65.
Yeah. He could get in at 65 for sure.
12 years.
That was great to see.
Did you watch the final drama? Did you look back at any of that stuff?
Well, what I saw was
Barron was on fire.
That's what I was going
to
say.
The whole event. So I think that judges, and they would say they don't, but I feel like they get kind of a plan in their head, like this is the guy, this is the guy, this is the guy, and then he comes up against Leo. And I mean, I don't want to take away your analysis, but they said Leo needed a score, and he got a wave that everybody on the beach, including all the judges, knew it was the score they said he needed. The only thing they could have been doing was saying, oh, we overscored a wave earlier, we're gonna fix that.
Yeah.
But I don't like that. Just get it right as it happens.
100%. I tuned in before Leo's 2 rides. And again,
and it looked like Barron was running away with it.
17.67 or whatever that score was, 17.97.
Within like 3 minutes.
To nothing.
Yes.
And I'm thinking, Barron's got it. The right surfer has won. Took out John along the way. Got the tan. Was just on fire the whole way and deserved to be the winner. And as you said, scripts and storylines are so powerful in their energetic impact in a moment. And when you watch them on a video, you don't have that energy. It's very unfair and impossible nearly to judge a moment off a screen as opposed to being there physically. Because in a physical environment, the energy that someone's putting in and creating in that moment influences the way everybody sees it. And it was a phenomenal comeback. And it spoke exactly to how Pipeline works all the time in those 2-wave little moments where people go back to back on 2 scores and can come from nowhere. There's no other wave in the world that will allow someone with 3 minutes to go still to win a heat who's 18 points down.
This wave doesn't take you very far.
No.
There's not a distance issue.
No, and you can always find them in different parts of the reef too if you're lucky. So that was amazing. It's still a great event. They got great waves. They got saved by the karma or the bad juju that was making the waiting period seem like it was not going to work for them. They got an out of jail card. The surfers again saved the day. The wave saves the day. And it just made you so aware. Why would you ever? Whose idea was it to take it from Pipeline to finish and finish at Lowers? The greatest venue, the greatest place to decide world champions, to finish tours, and if that doesn't prove it every year, it's going to be the standout event, one of the standout events of the year, because it always is, and it should be last.
Well, on that note, I heard a rumor that it might be.
Well,
they might not have an event at the end of this year, and they're not going to have an event like next February, and they're going to wait and make Pipeline the last event possibly of the next year. Does that make sense? Is that 2026? End of 2026.
So, but they will go to
Tavarua? Yes, they do the finals, but then I heard they might not start at Pipeline for the following year.
Yes.
And then end at Pipeline.
Yeah.
Possible.
They
heard
should,
a rumor.
Mate.
Maybe they just start a rumor so that we lay off them.
Save the tour, go back to Pipeline, finish it there, and make us all happy, because you saw the show, the surfers love it, it's the best wave, the best venue, and turns out the best ratings, I'm sure, for them, and we loved it. Congratulations, Barron Mamiya and Leo, a tied final, incredible, and both you guys deserve big props. Barron, you were the best surfer of the whole event, and that's why the public opinion is such that it didn't seem to me, as someone who wasn't around, that people were that ruffled by it. Obviously, it was controversial. People were talking about it, but I think in their heart of hearts, they knew that maybe Barron was the best surfer at Pipeline, and in some way that could justify. It's hard to watch it without the energy of a moment, because when you just watch it on telly, I've watched so many heats back and look like you lose because they're not in that moment. In that moment, it's a different thing. So, Koa, come over here, can you, mate?
Nice.
We're joined, special guest, straight in off the sidelines, actually from out there, Koa Rothman.
How you doing?
The champion of the Hui backdoor shootout.
Thank you.
Hey, mate.
It was good.
What an event that was.
I can't believe it. It all came down to like that last day and the last 5 minutes of my last heat, so
yeah,
I got very lucky.
Well, but you were consistent to that point, right? And you'd had all those scores that just needed one smoker to
I
send
know,
you.
I just really needed that one wave, and thankfully it just came right to me. It was a wave I just saw it like coming from out the back, probably a minute away. I saw it stand up, I was like, that's a good one. and I watched the Florence brothers go on 2 waves before and split the peak, and then Jose went for the one before it and missed it, and I was just sitting there by myself looking at like the most perfect wave I've ever seen.
And you saw it coming way before, while they were making mistakes with wave selection. You were sitting there going, "Oh, I might get lucky
Way
here."
before, I was trying to like keep my composure of getting too excited because I wanted them to go.
Yeah,
because we're
get them
doing,
out
like,
of there.
There was no priority in that event, but it was all good friends, so we're definitely doing like gentlemen's rules.
Yeah,
So I was last priority, and they all just went and
handed it over, and the wave came.
Yeah.
That's how it felt from the beach as a judge who was
Yeah.
judging it, you know. And we'd had a low. We were stingy, eh? We'd had a low scale the whole time through
Yeah,
the
I
event.
noticed that.
Kept that low scale. It was about a point below. If you added, that's what I've said. If you added 1 point to every score in the whole event, it'd
That
be
could've been the score,
it would where it would be right. But we were all waiting for something.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
thinking, we're out of 10, we're not out of 12, just think out of 10, because that's what you're used to doing.
I
And then when you're like, okay.
I think that's good that you guys keep it. If someone gets a 10 and then something comes through better than a 10,
Yeah.
then you
Go there.
go further, and they can go up to a 12. Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't
And
need to
they-
think out of 12.
They've come through. The shootouts had 12s.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you know.
Yeah, we've given them
Yeah.
after the 10s, you know.
Yeah.
Tell me, how was when you got home that evening? Pops must have been pretty happy with it.
Oh yeah, everyone was stoked. I was stoked, and we went and had dinner, and then threw a party in Haleiwa. So it was just a really good time all around. It was an amazing time.
And you've just come back from some injuries.
Yeah.
Tell us about the journey of this winter for you.
This winter's been good because I've finally been okay and healthy, but last winter I had an accident out here. I hit my head on the reef, rescued by the lifeguards and everything. I did a video on it, but coming back from that was probably the hardest thing mentally to do, was to be like, is this worth it? Like, is surfing worth it? Is pipe worth it? All this stuff like goes through your head.
Yeah.
So to come back from something like that, it was just felt like even more of an accomplishment just 1 year later. So this one meant a lot, and I hadn't won anything like that in like almost 10 years. So it was definitely a highlight moment of my life for sure. Just so much like built up things finally were like, it felt like relieved.
Yeah.
You know, like deep down I was just like holding on to like, what am I even doing? Why am I doing this? And like, now I know why.
Yeah, you know why you were rewarded. How is that little guy? Introduce
It's
us.
his first day out. His name's Teddy. He's actually my girlfriend's dog.
What?
And yeah,
Hey, Teddy.
he's not going to get much bigger than this, so he's kind of shook on the world right now.
He's so cute, mate.
Yeah, he's funny.
Hey, tell us about the way you make a living out of surfing. And you are surrounded, your generation are surrounded and are all so entrepreneurial. You're content creators, you've got your own brands, your own products, and you've created pathways for yourself to exist,
Yeah.
doing it your way.
Yeah, I mean,
Eh?
the goal is to be able to do what you love for the rest of your life, you
Yeah.
know, and sitting at a desk job or something like that, or doing something I didn't want to do, was kind of not in the cards for me. So I was like, I'm going to figure this out one way or another. Like, I only got sponsored, it sounds young, but my first sponsor was at 17. So, but a lot of people in the surf world get sponsored way younger.
Yeah.
So I was like right on the border of like possibly never getting sponsored, and thankfully that happened. And then I got to watch a lot of older surfers when the sponsors were done with them,
Yes.
especially in that corporate world. It was a little sad to see like they had nothing after.
Yeah.
So we definitely, me and a few other people, like started seeing that. We're like, we got to do something now, just in case, you know, they're like, that runs out. You can't professionally surf forever. I mean, unless you're Kelly Slater. So.
Yeah. Who knows when that is?
But that's kind of what drove me and my group of friends to like start new things and create businesses and not leave all our eggs in one basket. Like, say you get hurt surfing, and then it's a scary thought, kind of. Especially the older I get, I'm like, dang, I'm really glad I've set some other things up that can work out if if surfing doesn't, which it's going amazing. Honestly,
It's
I'm at the
working
best
out,
point in my
mate.
career. I have the most amazing sponsor, new sponsor, Dark Sport. So shout out to them. They're awesome. They're just a group of brothers that started a couple brands actually, and just killed them. It's very family oriented, and it's really amazing. So I feel like I'm part of a good crew, and everything's going great. So I'm very happy. Even today, I was kind of bummed. I was snowboarding for like 2 weeks. There was that week of waves we just had, and I had a great time, but I was in Japan snowboarding, and I just couldn't wait to get back home for today, and it ended up working out. I got some good waves. I'm probably gonna go back out in like 30 minutes.
Yes, sir. Tell us,
Yeah.
for me, 61-year-old old bloke, that when I finished the tour after 15 years, I had to get a job
Oh,
and go and find a new way to earn money because I didn't have enough to survive off.
really?
No, because you really, back then, if you made the final, you might have made money, but everybody else lost money going to events.
Wow.
So it's gnarly. So I'm so inspired by you guys, mate. I love the way you guys are doing it, the way you're playing it your way. I'm sure
Yeah.
Pops is super stoked that you're not playing someone else's game and you're doing it your way.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit. Tell us something. Your father has a reputation,
Yeah.
and he comes with authority, mate. Because Uncle Eddie don't fuck around, mate.
No,
right?
he doesn't.
He's straight, and you know where you stand. That's what I love about him, mate. It's so
Yeah.
clean cut, and you know it's all simple.
Yeah.
Straight
exactly.
up. Yeah.
He's, I mean, you know him. He's never been mad for no reason or has this reputation of whatever. He's always got people's best interests in mind. It doesn't matter who you are or where you're from. If you're a good person, like, he's got your back. And he's just not someone that takes shit. So
No.
he's developed a hard reputation. He's honestly like a really good dad, a really good person. So I'm grateful I got to grow up with him as my dad. I mean,
Yeah.
he's gnarly. He's Eddie Rothman, but he's never been gnarly for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
I'll say that much.
Yeah. That I noticed out of these last bunches of years, watching the world play itself out as some ridiculous pantomime, is that the good guys aren't always the good guys, mate.
Sometimes it looks like, or the bad guys are actually the good guys, and
100.
the good guys are actually the bad guys.
It's-
So it
you've
depends
learned
on
that.
what you're watching and what you see. So
Exactly.
yeah,
That's how I
it's
feel.
an interesting world with so much information. Like, you don't get your news from a newspaper anymore.
No.
One newspaper that comes out in the morning. So
No.
it's a different world. There's a lot of fake information. It's trippy. Like, I just look outside. I'm like, wow, I'm just so grateful to be in this area of the world doing what I love. I'm just like, life is good. Like, look at right now. We're just watching some of the best pipe of the season.
Wave after
Back to-
wave.
Yeah, it's insane.
Thank you, mate, for
Yeah.
joining us on the show.
Yeah, thanks for
Congratulations.
having me
Yeah, congrats on your win.
Yeah, thank you.
Love to the family. Love to you for watching. We thank you for joining the Stoked Bloke
thanks,
Show.
guys.
All the best. We'll see you next time.
Bye.